Kitchen talk, conversations that cook. Kitchen talk, conversations that cook. What you want to talk about? Kitchen talk, conversations that cook. Kitchen talk, Lisa, Lowe, JT, and friends. Kitchen talk, conversations that cook. Kitchen talk, conversations that cook. What you want to talk about? Kitchen talk, conversations that cook. Kitchen talk, Lisa, Lowe, JT, and friends.
Lisa, Lowe, JT, and friends. Y'all ready to cook up some conversation? Come on.
Kitchen talk.
Let's talk.
Let's talk.
What you talking about?
What you talking about?
Listen, I hope you had a great week. It was an interesting one.
It definitely has been an interesting week.
It was an interesting week. Did you watch that debate last night? I forgot to ask you that.
I did.
Did you see the faces?
I did. Okay, hold on. Okay, so Jami is okay, so Jami just texted me, Jami Coleman. You know Jami.
That's I do.
So Jami was on our first show for season 3.
Right.
Okay, good. I'm about to send her the link again. So she's gonna join us before the night is out. JT is still working. He had to work late.
Hey, put in that word.
So
it's almost Christmas. You gotta have your money right.
It is, isn't it? It's like October.
Y'all playing around. Y'all playing around.
It's October. I just can't. I'm like, wow.
Right. We here. We are here.
And we've been in all of this. That's actually where I sent it, Jami. We've been in all of this, and the time is like
flying, straight up flying.
But you're the most optimistic person I thought I was optimistic, but friends, you find the good in like everything.
I try to.
So do you feel like
we're on my camera? There it is. All right, there we go.
You good now?
Yeah, I'm good.
Do you feel like, okay, so time is flying, right?
Right.
But do you also feel kind of standstillish?
No.
We've been in, like, not standstillish, maybe that's the wrong word. And that's not a word, but like we've been in it too long.
Correct. Stagnant.
Okay.
Yeah. No, I don't feel that way because you're right. I'm optimistic in the midst of the storm, right? So while everybody else is like, oh, I'm like, nah, there's opportunity here. There's something we're missing and we need to capitalize on it as soon as we can, because if not, we're going to be behind the 8 ball, right? And we don't want to be behind the 8 ball. So for me, it's been a constant ongoing thing. Like if I'm not on my Zoom, right? Zoomathons.
When I tell you I'm tired of Zoom, oh my goodness. And I don't mean it from a creative standpoint, right?
Right.
Because creation, innovation, inspiration, all of that seems to be moving.
Correct. It is. And if we're not moving with it, we will be left behind.
Right. But from a standpoint of, and we were talking about this the other day. I was talking about this with my pastor and a couple of other folks. And we were saying something that we thought we were going to be in for 14 days. Mm-hmm. Okay, everybody shelter in place for 14 days. Everybody just kind of sit still for 2 weeks. And then it was like, you know what? Let's give it 2 more weeks.
Correct.
And now we're 6 months.
Correct.
That's the part I mean about it. Just feel like it's so long.
And I think it's because it's a change, right? It's such a big change in how we operate and how we do things that you're like, okay, what we need to do again is adapt. If we don't adapt, we're going to be left behind because we're still thinking about yesterday. But tomorrow's right around the corner.
It is. And I mean, we adjust, we adapt, but I think there's still this, I know for me, there's still this yearning or longing, and not necessarily for yesteryear.
Correct.
But for a social person,
oh yeah,
that likes interaction,
yeah. And
this is too long.
Well, I'm Mr. Social, but I've learned to adapt as well. Again, it has been a season, right? But like all seasons, this too shall pass. So
I sure hope
we just need to take the lessons from this and apply it. And that's what I'm looking at in terms of education, technology.
Sure.
I mean, our whole show changed, right?
Sure. Yeah.
And you're doing everything that way. And now it's like, okay, it's on Zoom, it's on camera. We're gonna make it work. And to be honest with you, I actually do like this platform, this setup. You know, I know we miss out on the social side of just seeing each other, loving on each other, eating together, breaking bread. I still feel connected, right? I think that's the biggest part. How can we still get past the challenge? And I think this platform and other platforms like it has given us the ability to be creative. And then start really now, how can we make this into a blended piece? So I do see a lot of change, you know.
And I think the change is good. I'm not knocking the change. In some ways, some of this we were looking into anyway, even before, you know, COVID-19.
Correct.
But oh my goodness, when I tell you I miss, like I go to the church every week because I'm part of media, right?
Right.
So I miss my mother's in the corner, you know? Like
trust.
Are we gonna get back to where I can hug them or I can sit at their feet? I used to sit at their feet. I mean, literally, some of them, and put my head on their lap, you know, that sort of thing. And just the touch and the hugs from them. Like you walk in there and you like, okay, you know, we get to come to the building, but it's still not the same. And are we gonna get back to that? And it's so scary that we might not, or not. I'm sure we will at some point, but I guess it's just the uncertainty. I think that's it.
It's gonna be different.
Just being in this place of uncertainty for so long. I think that's the bottom line of it.
I love going to my church. Like, you know, you walk in, especially when you know just about everybody. Hey,
right.
You know, I get my little church wave. But at the same time, I wanted my people to be safe. What is this?
Really, Connie? That's how you gonna do me?
She probably was, Connie.
Whatever. I love you too, Connie. I was not. I don't miss too much.
Walking in and you know, doing my church wave, giving my hugs, especially my Sunday school class with my all men's class, and we really, you know, dive into some deep conversations.
Yeah.
But at the same time, my congregation was an older congregation.
Yeah.
So I wanted to make sure that they were safe, and I'm not, you know, like we could probably get away with getting it and getting out of it. But a lot of our seniors, like you said, the ones we were sitting at their feet, we're listening to what they have to say, soaking in that knowledge.
Yeah.
They may not have fared well if we were to continue to do business as usual.
As
And
usual.
that's the piece right there. We got to find new ways to do our business. And to me, it's helping, not only on the spiritual side, but also on the political side, right? We're
True.
all more engaged into what's happening, what we need to be looking for, who said what, is that true, is it not? This was like the time. This was the time. I don't know if we weren't in this space, right? And some of these issues that were happening, I don't know if they would have gotten that much focus. Breonna Taylor, we still say her name.
Still, and we still need to continue to say it.
There it is.
Because justice has not been served for her.
And then not just her, so many others, right?
So many others,
How much of that microscope will we have on this type of situation? Well, all the things that go on in the world, because we were in this situation, we had a chance to stop, and now people got a chance to really reflect and see for themselves.
Yeah.
If you could,
and they can't turn away from it.
You can't. You got to watch it.
Yeah.
You're gonna hear it.
You can't turn away from it. It's constantly in your face. So I do want to talk about. So we did have you look fine. You like my kids during the summer online. They like checking their hair.
Yeah, I got you on my beard. Is that
you look no flies.
You a mess. You are a mess. Listen, all I could think about was the garbage dump. But these people came out with something just as fast with Barack Obama's face, and they put I'm like, man, come on, man. The best question was at the end of the event, and she talked about the little 8th grader.
Right.
Asking the question about America and American.
Right.
I may not agree with what you're saying, but I'm not going to be disagreeable, right? I'm going to still be respectful. I'm going to still be brotherly. I'm going to still be an American to my fellow Americans. And I think we've gotten to the point where we kind of forgot about that. Like, regardless of who wins, we still got to do our job as Americans, right? We still got to uphold the Constitution, although people trying to change it. We still got to uphold these laws, although people try to change it.
And some of them need to be changed for the better, of course, but
they're changing it to bend their way.
Right.
Instead of changing it so that it enhances what we're trying to do as a whole, right? Because it shouldn't be that you benefit from this law and we don't. And I said it the way, right?
Right.
It should be that if I'm an American, I should benefit from being an American.
So what if we were to, so tonight we were going to talk about, or we are talking about, the presidential debate, the first one, which was, in my opinion, a hot mess.
Listen, but you know what?
A hot mess. Although
TV. That's what he was looking
pure
for.
Entertainment.
That's what
pure entertainment.
He was looking for good TV. He wasn't looking for content and sharing ideas and what they want to do and how to make America better. How to make America.
But you have to go to, I listen to D.L. Hughley sometime, and he asked the question, when was America great?
I agree.
You wanna make it great again. Well, what period are you referring to? When was it great for all Americans? So I get make America great. So let's keep, what's your saying? Working on greater. Let's keep working on greater.
Correct.
And so to say that, to me, what's wrong with, now that we know better, let's scrap the whole thing and start back again with all men are created equal.
Right.
Because
Well,
the Constitution, we still trying to be considered men.
and you know, that's the thing with The Pursuit. I love the movie. I was talking to my students about it. I shared a video, The Pursuit of Happiness. Great movie. And there was that underlying topic on pursuing happiness, right? They didn't just say have happiness or get happiness. It was pursuing happiness. We're still pursuing to be greater. We're still pursuing for the dream of what America has. Can we make it better? Yes, that's the job, right? That is the job that we should have. You know, you look at other countries who are actually doing that. Free healthcare for all of their citizens. That's the pursuit, right? Free education for all of their citizens. That's the pursuit. You know, food for all their citizens. There's no reason why you live in America and you go hungry. There's no reason why you live in America and you can't get quality health care, right? As a citizen, the one thing that you should have is quality health care. We should be sending our students to school so that they can become doctors, so that they can give back to the community in terms of here's the best quality health care that you can get. It's just so simple to me. But here we are. We're still pursuing it.
Right.
And I think we run away from it instead of running towards it.
And when I watch and I usually, because I really don't want to waste my energy with our current leadership, because I know he's not going to say anything worth really hearing and digging into. I don't feel like he has my best interest at heart.
I think go ahead, because
but I did say, okay, well, let me watch the debate.
Okay.
You know, let me who was it we had on one time before? Attorney Akbar. Mutaki Akbar. So he really struck a chord saying, you know what, we need to be informed.
Exactly.
And I'm like, you know what? That's true. That is true. I need all the information so I can make an intelligent decision, right?
Correct.
So I'm like, okay, let me watch the debate. But how do you overtalk somebody? And now we don't understand nothing you saying because all you doing is throwing stones and daggers.
Correct.
And not only that, but now we can't even hear what the other person's plan is because you won't let them talk and you talk over the moderator. So it's like nobody matters but you.
Right.
And that is so selfish. So very selfish. And so to your point about the little girl's question, the 8th grader's question, I should be able to say my piece. You should be able to say your piece and then let the people make their decision.
Correct. But again, and that's, you know, the debate is supposed to help you make that decision, right? At this point, most people know who they want to vote for. It's these little pockets of people who are still trying to figure it out. But at this point, you should know, right? I think this just gives us more ammunition to say, really?
Yeah.
As we saw on Black Panther, this is your leader? I can't say, you know, I'm not going to say king.
This is your leader.
This is your leader. So we respect the leadership. We respect what they have to say because I want to hear it. I want to hear what you have to say. I don't want to, because again, the shoe could be on the other foot. And then when you are in office, they don't want to hear what you have to say.
Yeah.
But I think respect should be given. So let me hear what you have to say. Let me hear, you know, your thought process. And then from there, I can make a value decision. I still hold true to this. When I vote, it's not just for me, right? My vote is really for the community, the people who don't get what we take sometimes for granted, right? Just something to eat. Why are you fighting to get something to eat? Why are you fighting to go to the doctor to get your teeth cleaned? Those are some basic fundamental things that every American should have.
Right.
Yes, and
Right.
I'm not running for office unless they I keep saying that, Lisa, but and fundamentals.
You know we gonna pull somebody gonna pull a footage of Kitchen Talk one day
And they're
when you on a national stage talking about I ain't running for office.
Listen,
They'll be like, he ain't want to do it. Y'all see how he is?
Oh man, we got to see again. For me, it's bigger than that because I don't want to be influenced, and I think a lot of our leaders have been influenced by other people. They've been influenced by the dollar instead of being influenced by the American people, influenced by the challenges that we have to face.
True,
right?
True.
We
because they don't have you. Sometimes you cannot empathize or sometimes even sympathize with somebody because you don't know their plight at all.
Correct.
You can't even imagine what it's like to be the only Black person in the room.
Correct.
Right? And how that feels.
Correct.
Or you can't imagine driving your car and having law enforcement just pull in behind you in regular traffic, but I have tensed up and grabbed the steering wheel and then get mad at myself like, what's wrong with you? It's an anxiety, it's a trauma, but you can't understand that if you ain't never been through it.
Well, you can't understand even this. You go to the hospital because you're hurting, but they tell you we can't do nothing for you. What most we can do is give you some medication.
Right.
If that.
Stabilize you and put you back out the door.
Come on. Come on. Lisa. That's the world we living in right now.
It's a lot of issues.
Like I said, that's what the leadership should be doing, attacking the issues, attacking the challenges. There's no reason why our prisons should be the highest in the world. No reason. There's no reason why we should put more money in our prisons than we put in our schools.
It's big business.
But
the school is not big business.
But you know what? It should be.
It should be.
Because who are you developing? The next leaders, the next thought, the thought generators, the next creators, the next inventors, the next doctors, lawyers, the next CEOs. I mean, this is where we should be putting our dollars to ensure that America continues to grow to its aims and its vision.
But here's the thing is that we're backwards because they're not putting the money in school. So therefore, the money begins to ching in the justice, in the prison system.
Correct.
Because we don't want y'all to succeed because then the prison go out of business.
I'm dying.
It's about that almighty dollar. I'm trying to say.
That's why I said
about that almighty dollar.
Listen, if y'all not funding me, I'm not on the ticket. But if I get that funded, hey, I'm your man. I'm your man. All of that other stuff, you can miss me with it.
But here is one thing that I have always said for years, right?
Right.
So the same way professional sports have endorsements, right?
Correct.
Imagine if we did that with our teachers.
Listen,
why can't that money go? Right. Like something got to be done. When a teacher only makes what's the mean 45 maybe
40 45 maybe 43. I think it's 43, not even 45.
So you talking somebody who is with children, not just one but 30 plus sometimes.
Correct.
At a time.
Correct.
5 days a week.
Been there, done that.
Well,
Been there, done that.
not on the elementary and not in the grade school area,
Been there, done that.
but the collegiate area.
And
And
still doing
it's
it.
like
Still doing
it's
it.
like it's valued to a certain extent, but it's not valued enough to pour money into it, right?
Correct.
But then you'll find some money for a resource officer, for policing.
Right.
Well, all you got to do is most times little Johnny ain't no behavior problem. He bored because the teacher can't challenge little Johnny the way little Susie get challenged. And so little Johnny bored. He done did the work.
It's so much, you
It
know.
is a lot. It is a lot. And it's a lot at stake with this election, right?
Correct.
So it's
Correct.
so much. We're talking we're talking social justice,
Correct.
criminal justice reform. We're
Correct.
talking education. We're
Correct.
talking healthcare. We're
Yep.
talking economy. I
Yep.
mean,
You forgot
you didn't
civil.
get civil rights. So we didn't get none of that with the presidential debate.
No.
Because even if and I hate to say this, even if Joe Biden was about to say something substantial, you got wah 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 wah. Well, I'm
again,
fine with you saying your point of view, but let somebody else say their point of view.
It was done.
However, on the flip side of it, when we get to the vice presidential debate, it was a lot of good stuff that came out of that.
A lot of good stuff.
A lot of good stuff. We got to hear
better, but the bar was so low for the first one that anything they did would have been better. I'm sorry. I'm just sorry. I mean, it was just that low that they could have just showed up and asked 3 questions and it would have been better, right?
Yeah.
So, you know what? We can't really measure that much. Content was there. Content was definitely there, but the fact checking was needed to be there as well. And I don't know if you were checking some of the fact checking as it was going on, but they were on the job. When I tell you, a lot of stuff was coming out that was not true.
Not true.
And we've seen it before with the 45 and his whole campaign.
Yeah.
Whole team.
Yeah.
They continue to do what they normally do, but at the same time, even Joe and Miss Harris was still kind of like dodging some bullets too, right? Because they had some questions that she didn't answer.
Well, now I only really saw the one question that she didn't answer. Just like, but I also saw that the other one, Pence, I honestly don't think he ever really addressed. He always went back to something else. And I'm like, dude, that ain't what she is.
And to be one of the after the show, you have the after talk, the after debates. One of the commentators said something that I was like, oh, that's so true. When they were during their first term, Trump told Pence that was the best debate I've ever seen because you did not answer the question. He ran around that thing so many ways and so many directions that he never really addressed the question. And I guess that's a debate tactic, but he used it very well. And he did it again this time. He just kept going around it instead of attacking. And it's funny because that's what they've been doing with the American system, right? Instead of attacking the problem, let's go around it until we can't go around it anymore. Let's try to hide it. Oh, it's only 14 days. You can stay home. Well, I think it might be deeper than that. Oh, yeah, I guess I'm sorry. It is deeper than that. We got to address it now, right?
Right.
So it's like we'll run around it until we can't. And then we're trapped in a corner. So we got to address it. You only paid $250?
700.
Oh, was it 7?
You mean the taxes?
The taxes, yeah.
$750 for 2 years.
Come
I
on.
think I pay more tax than that.
I
At
mean,
least I know they take more than that out my check,
well, they take it out regardless.
and I don't get it back.
So, that's
And
what you
why they ain't taking it out of his?
But guess what? You didn't hear about that anymore, right? After the whole I got COVID, all of that is all tactics. Let's
I agree.
run around the situation instead of
I agree.
addressing the situation. This is the problem. Let's address it. None of the problems. Think about it. When he was asked to denounce racism, what do? You run around it instead of saying no. And I think that's just one of their tactics, man. Just run around the problem, run around the situation until you just can't anymore, and then you just go for the
Well, the whole premise is for us to live in this kind of fearful state, and you could tell that from when. So I still try to wrap my mind around how he was a viable candidate for a major party anyway, and we almost 4 years in, and I'm still like, how did this happen? But
I
the
think a lot of
whole
people are,
thing
including
is
a lot of Republicans.
right.
Oh God.
Exactly. The whole thing is divide and conquer, and that's been it from the beginning, right?
Right.
So with divide and conquer, there is an element of fear. So you don't want hope, which was a premise that
Obama.
President Obama ran on.
Correct.
Giving people inspiration, giving people hope, which you could have done and showed us something even with COVID. So we know what your leadership style is. Your leadership style is fear. You want us to live in fear and and not be able to think for ourselves or whatever it is, right? There's Jamie.
Hi, I'm so sorry I'm late. I'm so sorry. Thanks for having me, though. Hey.
Welcome back.
Well, thank you. Thanks for having me.
So Jamie, you saved me today when I was like, Jamie, I need a favor. She was like, sure. I was like, hey.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. So we were digging in. So give us your thoughts on the two debates, right? So the first, the presidential debate, and then the vice presidential debate.
Okay, so the presidential debate, I will say that on the onset, I was extremely embarrassed. I was extremely embarrassed by both candidates. And, I don't think it's any secret. I'm not a Trump fan whatsoever. But Biden also had a difficult time during that debate, staying on topic, answering the questions. I think the thing that was most annoying for me and for probably many other Americans was that, but so I'll just only speak for me though, is that he allowed Trump to do the same thing that he did to Hillary, which was to get him off focus, to get him off task, to Trump was baiting him and he fell into it. And I was disappointed. And it's human nature. I can see how it could happen, but that's an old play that Trump has in his playbook. So Biden should have been aware of that. So that was a little disappointing. The other thing is, as much as I dislike Trump and his administration, to see Biden call him a clown a couple of times and tell the president of the United States of America to shut up was really hard for me to watch. Like, at the end of the day, we still should look united, and we should still,
Just saying that.
Yep.
you know, the values that we hold and that we want other countries to do as well. We should be
Right.
that way, and it just didn't look like we were civilized at that moment. Um, so fast forwarding to now the vice presidential debates, although it was not as quite as entertaining as the presidential debate.
Very entertaining.
I said the same thing. I'm telling you,
Other words. I said other words in my text messages to my friends. I was like, oh my God. But, you know, it wasn't as entertaining, but I will say that it was historical to be sitting on the couch in 2020, and all things considered with 2020, because 2020 has been a year for so many of us, if not all of us. But to be sitting on the couch with my 17-year-old Black daughter watching a Black woman, vice presidential nominee, you know, go toe to toe with a white man, and to see him not do the vice president at that, okay, not just a white man, but the vice president of the United States, and to see him avoid questions, not only the moderator was asking, but that she was challenging him with, was monumental. I mean, that's historical. If for no other reason, I just wanted to see Kamala Harris on TV as a Black woman vice presidential candidate. I continued to watch it, even though it wasn't as entertaining as the presidential debate. It was historical, and it was a moment that I could not take my eyes off of. But I think substantive wise, Senator Harris did an amazing job. Substantive wise, I do believe that she won. I think that presentation wise, Vice President Pence did a better job than she did. I think that presentation wise, I think he did some little zingers. He got his base. He said the key words that motivate and get his base thinking. Do I think that they changed the minds of those people that were on the fence? No, I don't think that they changed the minds. But I do think,
I'm going to interrupt you for just a second.
Yeah.
I do think during the presidential debate, some minds were changed. I didn't want us to miss out on that opportunity. I do think some minds were changed on the presidential side.
I'm curious to know I'm curious because, you know, I have a lot of friends on Facebook, and I saw comments and people were like, oh, Trump did a great job. And I'm like, you were watching the right?
Was we watching the same one?
And then I had some people say, go Biden. And I'm like, no, this is not good. It
was horrible.
It was a something show for sure, you know? So why do you think that? Because even as a non-Trump supporter, as a Biden voter, I was embarrassed. So why?
I mean, the American public, the American public, the American system was definitely brought down a notch that night. But what Biden did show was fight, right? Yeah. He did not do what Hillary kind of did, which is, I'm just going to panter and kind of run around. Biden fought. And I think, if anything, that gave people to say, you know what? He's not going to lay around for this. Now, right? Here's Trump, the big bully, trying to come after him, come after his family, come after his integrity. Sometimes you got to fight. And I know, you know, that stage is supposed to be all, you know, fancy, you know. Listen, you talk about my peoples, you're going to get some too. Right? Yeah. And I like that. I think a lot of people said, you know, we like that Trump is going to be that guy to talk you down. And I think people saw that fight in Joe, because he didn't show it. He didn't show that a lot. And sometimes you got to fight to say, you know what? When you go to Putin, when you go to any other,
you gotta have that passion.
Have the backbone to fight.
You know, it's interesting. You know, I think and I don't want to make this a gender situation, but I think that's interesting because I think that most men would see it that way. I certainly didn't recognize that way.
Correct.
My way of thinking was, God, Biden, you're being pretty disrespectful. Like, now, albeit I did think that Trump's discussion about Joe's son was completely, utterly inappropriate and disgusting. Like, you should, one thing that should have been off limits was wives, mothers, and children. Like, don't go there. And for
Correct.
Trump to go there was like completely,
It was his last
he was
straw.
disrespectful, period, totally.
Correct.
But I
But
thought it was
honestly,
utterly disgusting.
what rule would he follow? Because
He wouldn't. He wouldn't.
he followed none of the rules.
He
And
wouldn't.
so
And then
they could have said, this is off limits, this is off limits, this is off limits. But you're talking about a guy who, when he ran 3.5 years ago, made fun of colored people, that's what he called them,
that's what
made
he
Women.
fun
called him.
of handicapped people, made fun of
Yeah.
everybody.
Yeah,
So
absolutely. We
nothing
expect
to
that from
him
Trump, though. I think
is
that's
off
the
limits.
thing. With Trump, we don't expect him to follow the rules. We expect him to break the rules. I mean, Biden said it best. You're a liar. We all know you're a liar.
You think that's why I liked it? Because Biden did what you should do to a bully. You stand up to him, right? We expected Biden to follow the rules, just like Hillary did. Okay, I'm gonna follow the rules. But sometimes you can't follow the rules. Black Lives Matter, the whole movement, they're not following the rules. They're out here because the rules have not been followed. It's
That's
your
true.
job to
That's
protect the law, to keep the law right. And if you're not going to do it, guess what? We're going to be
Civil disobedience.
That's
I mean, they
one way
did
of
it in
thinking
the
about it.
Boston Tea Party. We could do it in Chicago. We
I
could
think
do
that's
it
yeah. I think that's one way of looking at it. I think also, though, that there is a segment of Americans that want to get back to the ideals that we value, which is decency, which is respect, which is, at the end of the day, we may be a different shade, color, creed, religion, whatever, gender,
Right.
but we're still people. And so we're afforded the basic common respect. And I think
agree.
while Trump may embody not following the rules, we still want a leader that will. And so I think while that's definitely one way of looking at it, that you want to stand up to a bully, I think I think that's played out. I think where Americans are right now is that we're tired of the Trump reality TV show. Like, we're tired of being embarrassed. Let's get back to the ideals that we have been founded on and that we envision and that we hold so true to ourselves. And so that's my perspective. Like, while I'm thinking the same things that Biden is saying, I can't go into court and say, you're a clown. Shut up, man. Like, I can't do that. Like,
Right.
And I would never expect my president to do the same. So, but it wasn't a good.
You can't if you give it, you got to be ready to get it too, right?
I guess in a perfect world, what I would have liked for him to have done was ignore him. So one way of handling the bully is you stand up to them. Another way is you don't acknowledge them. You take the energy away from them, And so, at least for me, because I've had bullies growing up, at least for me, what I've learned is if I don't feed into it, that they'll eventually find somebody else. They will eventually leave me alone.
But Jamie too. Okay, hold on, friends. But here's only because I had this moment recently.
Go ahead.
So is there a point where you recognize that Biden show his humanity, right? So he was trying. He was trying. But his humanity, when you push that one last button, his humanity was like, you know what? I'm about to take the gloves off, get my Vaseline, put my Timbs on.
You couldn't say
And
nothing
so-
about my child and expect me to come
No,
across the
I
stage.
get what
Like,
you're saying. But to me, I respected that just a little bit. But that's because I do think Trump is a clown. So I'm like, yeah, you're right.
Well,
But I
here's the
get what
thing.
you're saying. I get what
We
you're
have to respect the office, and that's where Jamie, I think you're going in terms of this is the highest office in our country. This is the highest position. We must respect it. But Jamie, the person who is holding that title doesn't respect it at all. So it's kind of like, okay, I'm respecting the title, but the person who owns it is not even respecting it. So how can we respect you? So there was a thing that we talked about this right before you came on in terms of remembering what America it was, right? And what America was trying to become and still trying to become. We're still trying to aim for those, goals, visions, dreams, ideals. We're still on the pursuit. That's all I said earlier. We're pursuing what America should be. Right. And we need leadership.
That is what I love about Kamala, because Senator Harris did just that. Now, we cannot, some critics may say that, she didn't push hard enough. She wasn't assertive enough. But you got to remember, like, just like Hillary, she's a woman. But unlike Hillary, she's a Black woman. And so as Black women, we have to hold the line, especially when we're in authoritative positions or positions that put us in the limelight. We have to toe the line about how we address certain situations. And while we may be feeling like we're tried, we can't necessarily act out and respond in the way that we feel like we're being tried. So I appreciate her pulling back. I appreciate, because you get labeled. You get labeled as assertive. You get labeled as aggressive. You get labeled as a threat. You get labeled as dramatic. You get all these really negative labels when you start to act like Trump. When you start to act like that as a Black woman, it becomes a penalty for you. A negative characteristic. So she, to me, embodied those ideals that I would have liked to have seen in the first debate. Very poised, very calm, held him to the fire when it came to his response to COVID. Held him to, couldn't even respond. Took him toe to toe with. Talk about what does your voice look like? Couldn't respond. He couldn't. He had to deflect. Yeah. And we saw that most of the night. So, and she was also, what was also interesting was that she was very contrast to the moderator who looked to be very weak, very not in control. She was very different from that. And I was impressed by that. Like you could see a clear contrast. Excuse me, sir, I'm still speaking. We can have a conversation. Yes, Kamala.
Right.
Get him all the.
I did like that. Yeah. But I did feel there were times when he kind of lost track too.
Yeah. I gotta know it too. No, just talk. Please, just say it, spit it out. Yeah.
I think she kind of lost her train of thought a couple of times too by trying to, control the situation, which is what the moderator should have been doing, right? That's the moderator's job, to kind of keep things in check. So I do think she kind of lost her train of thought. I was talking about it in terms of, did she really say everything she wanted to say? Did she really responded like she wanted to respond? Because she was playing like double duty, right? But I was shaking my head earlier, Lisa, when you said Francis, because listen, this is Senator Harris, right? This is not just anybody, somebody. She has gotten some people in some examinations where she has, shaked it up. You got to agree with the game. She is not no little, new kid on the block. She knows how to handle herself.
I
And I
agree with
think
you.
that's what we should be looking for.
I agree with you. And that actually was one of my thoughts, or one of my questions that I wanted us to talk about too, was okay, yes, she's a senator, yes, she's been prosecuting attorney, all of that, attorney general, all of that, right? But this is still another level, right?
Yes.
So and I'm glad you mentioned it, Jamie, about the fact that she has to be so careful not to be viewed as the angry black woman. So
Thank
when
you.
everybody was they were talking about the faces and I loved it.
The mama looks.
Black woman, I'm like, yes, whatever, but you can almost see her energy like, okay, let me keep it together. Let me keep it together. Let me keep it together. And it's one of the things that we're going to have to contend with this particular race, because this is the first time a black woman has ever had this platform. And so
Absolutely.
and
Now,
so
Absolutely.
well, vice president. Okay.
vice yeah,
Yeah.
vice president. I mean, Shirley Chisholm, of course, ran for
Correct.
president.
Correct. You
And
can't
I'm not
forget our
negating
history. You
anything that
cannot
she
forget
did.
our history.
By no means. I'm
Right.
like, yes,
Right.
she opened the
But we're
door for
talking
us
about
in a
a
lot
vice
of ways.
president nominee. We're talking about a vice
Right,
president nominee
right,
going toe to toe. We're not talking about somebody who ran for president.
right,
Correct.
Not, again, no disrespect to Miss Chisholm, not at all.
right,
But
right,
for the first time, we saw a
right,
black woman vice
Mhm.
president candidate in a national debate, and only her, just her,
right,
that for
right.
the first time. It's incredible. It's incredible.
It was
It
incredible.
was.
It was incredible. And two, the other thing is, we saw what happened with Hillary and Trump, right? So you got a whole bunch of people that just don't like women in charge, period. Whether they
Right.
be male or female, it was female people that did not want a woman in charge. And so here it is, you got all of this on your mind while you are going toe to toe with a white man. That is
Right.
something to be thinking about and strategizing about at this level. And still, France, to use your line, show them who you are.
Hey, hey, come on, Black
I
Panther.
thought she handled
Come on.
herself
She
so
did.
well. I thought she handled herself so well. I
Yes.
could see the pullback moments. Like you
Yes.
were saying, she lost her
Yes.
train of thought. I don't think she really lost her train of thought. I think she had you know what, let me say this and not and try to contend with the labels, because we already get labels as women, but even as
Already.
women, black women get more labels
Mm.
on them that
Anytime we're disagreeable, anytime
yeah,
we're in opposition, we are
right,
labeled the angry black
right,
woman. We're labeled as bitter. We're
right,
labeled as unhappy. Anytime our opinion looks differently from yours, and yours being the universal you, right? So I think she was pulling back, but I also think that there was some missed opportunities too. I think black people have a question mark about Senator Harris's record. We have a question mark about it. We got some concerns. And when Vice President Pence directly went for her on her record, she says let me address my record. I'm going to address my record.
and she
Speaking
didn't.
of stacking the bench, you haven't put one black person on the bench. And I'm like,
Right.
come on, address your record.
That's
No.
not nothing
But you
about
know
your
what?
record.
You sound like
I cannot be mad at her for it. Why? Because Pence did the same thing. Trump
He
did the
did.
same thing.
He did.
I cannot be mad at her about it. But
we,
I will say this: regardless if she gets in or not, we gotta hold all parties to the fire.
Here's
Period.
the thing, though. Black women are rarely held to the same standard that other people are. And I'm not talking about, women. I'm talking about anybody. We're not. So we get especially when you're in a role of leadership, you get criticized more harshly than
Right.
and that's not fair, and it's certainly not what I'm trying to do. But I am saying that she had a missed opportunity to address
Agree.
that, which is a question for a lot of undecided people.
Agree.
And I
Agree.
think, I think that she, I'm sure she's probably thinking the same thing, that I wish I would have addressed it too. I think
Right.
her point was still valid, that you have not been stacking the bench with
Right.
people that look like me. Why is that? That didn't get lost on me at all. But I do wish that she had circled back still and
Yeah.
addressed the record as well, because that is a question that the American people have, particularly Black people that may be on the fence.
I agree.
So, but you're right. To your point, France, Vice President Pence did the same thing when he was asked about climate change.
Correct.
His
Correct.
response was literally, the climate is changing. And I said, bruh, what do you
Straight up.
mean the
No,
climate?
straight face.
And we will
That
follow
was
the trend. That was his
straight
response. In 2020, all these educated people in this vice presidential debate that couldn't be more important than any other election going on, this man said
The climate is
changing. That was his response. So, and by the way, I want to talk about this other thing, moderator. Let me not answer your question. I'm going to talk about this other thing right now. The climate's changing. We'll follow the trends. But back to this issue right here that I was talking about. So, yes, he did that. But again, that's the playbook. We expect that. We expect that.
So when you say we expect it, I'm sorry, friends. When you say we expect it, are we accepting it?
No.
And so it's okay?
No. It just means that, it's kind of like that failed relationship that you stay in for so many years. You know what's going to happen. You already know the storyline. Okay. Like, I know what's, it's kind of like that. Like, I know what to expect from you. I'm not surprised. I'm tired of it.
Right.
I wish you would do better, but I'm not surprised that you did what you did. I'm ready for something new. I need something new. I'm expecting something new. So something new, don't give me the same thing that this tired old relationship is giving me. That's what I'm saying. Do you accept it? No. Do you want something better? Yes. And that's what I'm hoping that the American people will do, is that we'll get something new. We'll get something refreshing. We won't accept the same old, that we're tired of that playbook.
But one of the things, Jamie, is we have to, I've been saying this for weeks. I've been saying this for years, literally. We have to create that, right?
Right.
We have to literally plant that seed now. We had to plant that seed. And I said this when Barack got into office, President Obama got into office, that we needed to plant the seed of leadership to take over and to do greater works.
Yeah. Absolutely.
He did, right? And that's what we should be doing. We should be planting the seeds of leadership for the next generation to come. The votes that we're casting very soon will affect people that we don't even know yet.
Right.
People who are not in this world right now, right? We may not even be in this world anymore. And the decisions that we're making is literally going to change the landscape of what the future is going to look like. So it's important that we start planting those seeds and developing that leadership to take the place of, the senator, the governor, the principal, even down to the principal, right? Down to the superintendent, all the way to the president's office. If we're not putting the seeds in place, then we're going to keep getting what we're getting, bad fruit.
Right. I totally agree with you. And I'm optimistic. I'm optimistic when I see these young people out here, fighting for Breonna Taylor, when I see them fighting for George Floyd, and they are not just people that look like us. Right. They look like all kinds, and it's national. It's national, and it's international.
It's international. It's global.
When I see that, I am, like I said, 2020 has been a lot of things for a lot of us, but it has also brought some good things. And when I see that, I am optimistic about what our future holds, and that we have done what Tupac said. This change has been sparked, right? There's something brewing. Correct. And maybe haven't seen it. We don't know what it is. We don't know what it looks like just yet, and we may never see it. But it's happening. So I'm
It's happening.
optimistic about that. I'm optimistic, and it just so happens that the leaders right now that we currently have, the people that are currently running, um, you know, they may not be all that we hope for, right? But we're getting there. We're
Right.
getting.
I think it brought out, and I said this before too, 2020 actually cleared up a lot of vision. Like we were really able to see
Right.
clearly.
I agree.
And we needed, as much as I hate to say it, but I'm a spiritual person. I believe in God. Somehow we needed to see and go through what we going through in order to get to the greater.
I agree.
Listen, we in the wilderness right now. You know, we need Moses, and then we need Joshua to take over. So we can get to the promised land, right? I'm ready for some real meat now.
I'm tired of the manna.
This is the situation that we're in. We're literally moving into a new phase.
Right.
We're going into a new era, but we can't take the bad habits. We can't take the disrespect. We can't take the hate. We got to take the love, the admiration, the respect, you know, with us, all of the good, because the bad is on Front Street right now.
Yeah.
We know what we don't want. And we've known the bad for over 200 years.
Oh, yeah. And longer. Yeah.
You know, I mean, them boys is in the desert for 40 days. We still in the desert. So we need to get out of this thing and say, hey, we're planning these leaders right now to help us take us to higher heights. Because at this point, there really isn't no other way to go, right? I was telling Lisa, the vice president debate, I mean, they could have just said ABC and it would have been better.
Well, yeah.
Up from here.
Yeah.
You're right. I think we're on our way. Like I said, I'm optimistic about what the future holds. And I think that, it's so funny. This is like going full circle when we met like maybe a couple years ago. Right? Yeah. Like, I think it starts on the local level. I think that good leaders start from the ground up and not from the top down. Correct. And I think if we can start grooming our youth right now, as early as elementary school and high school, and instilling and emboldening them with the confidence they need, and we will for sure get there. But even with our college students right now, there is an atmosphere in our colleges, particularly at FSU, where we are a cancel culture. We're unforgiving, we're unloving. We are we're hypocrites in some way, but we're canceling people for making mistakes, albeit they're big mistakes. And but we're doing it in the spirit of Trump, how he just, I think there's got to be a better way. If we can just grab hold of them and while they're still fungible and can be mold them, I think we've got potential there. But I do think even we can't forget our local elections. They're coming up, especially here in Tallahassee, and they're getting ugly, and they're already ugly. You're right. Yeah. But I think that right now, especially at the local level, this is where we can start grooming those leaders for the national seats. So we don't want to miss that opportunity, and we want to just kind of hone in on them. Running for office is tough, and I commend anybody that does it. Like, it is not an easy thing to put your whole life out there for the world to judge.
Right.
It's not easy. And so while I don't take that lightly, I do think that we got some work to do. And I think we got some people that have got some great potential, and that we can get there with them.
So, Jamie, I was just thinking that this is like your 1 year anniversary of your friendship with Kitchen Talk. So,
Hey,
you opened up our season 3, and now we're moving into season 4. And here you
that is
are.
so funny. I don't know why it feels like it's been 2 years, but maybe it's just been 1 year.
Yay! It's only been a year.
One
Yep,
year.
it's been a year.
Well,
Yep. I mean, when you said that, I was like, oh my God, this is, yeah, yeah.
that's amazing. Well,
So
it's
very
always a
cool.
privilege. You guys are
So we
awesome.
always definitely appreciate you coming by. And when I say when COVID is over, dinner and drinks on me. Because
I
oh
love
my
it.
goodness, I was like, what am I gonna do? And I was like, Jamie, let me see if she's available. So I appreciate it so, so much.
Anything for
Um,
you, Lisa, and France. Thank you.
you are a sweetheart. I
No,
love you.
thank you. It's probably the better word, right?
Yeah, yes, definitely. Because I don't know, it's one of the things that we believe in, and I love that even though it's like, my baby, my brainchild, my whatever, the fact that you have people that buy into it and give their all to it. So I'm always appreciative to every guest that comes on, and even more appreciative to France and JT who keep holding me down with it. So I'm like, so we were talking, Jamie, the other day, and we are like 6 minutes over our hour.
Uh-oh. I'm
It's
sorry.
not the first time. It
We were
won't be the
talking
last
the other
time.
day about, I was like, guys, we're in year 4. And they was like, oh my God, it's been 4 years. And I was like, yeah,
That's
yeah.
awesome.
So,
Congratulations. If I
so
had a class, I'd be raising it to you guys. Congratulations. That's awesome.
thank you so much.
That's
Thank you so
awesome.
much. It's a journey, and I'm loving it. And I'm so appreciative that France and JT, even though he's working tonight, but they've been on the ride with me. I'm like, oh my God, y'all are amazing. Cause I mean, I don't know if we could do it. I could do it with anybody else.
Like what we've been talking about tonight, it takes the teamwork, right? It
Yeah,
takes a community. And that's how we should be looking at America. We all are Americans, and we should be looking at it in terms of a family, a community that's pushing towards the
yeah,
common goal, right? Pursuing our true happiness, pursuing
right.
something better. And again, I could go on and on, but I'm not on the ticket.
You sure can.
There it is, right there. You see it? You
Maybe
see
don't
it?
get him started.
You sure can.
Get out of that. At the end of the day, we are a family, and that's what we should be doing. We're all Americans, and we should be respectful to one another. We should be
Right,
helpful to one another. We
right,
should be doing what this country was literally put in place to do: help others, help ourselves, as well as help other countries achieve their goals and their
right,
aspirations. So
right.
Absolutely.
that's a
Absolutely.
whole nother show. But
So I do want to say, listen, if you have not made your plan, you need to make your plan to vote. So early voting in Leon County starts on the 19th. October 19th starts early voting to November 1st. And then the general election day is November 3rd. Now, November 3rd is the federal. So that's everywhere. So I don't care where you are in the world, where you're watching us from, you need to make sure that you get out and vote.
by
Get
November
out
3rd.
and vote by November 3rd. Exactly. Make
Oh
a
God.
plan.
Yeah.
I think for Leon County to get a mail-in ballot sent to you, you need to make your request by October 24th. So to get your mail-in ballot, you need to make that request by the 24th, but it has to be in the supervisor of elections office by 7 p.m. on the 3rd. You don't
Correct.
have to mail it back. You can take it. If you're not trusting the mail system, even though I think part of that is the fear factor and the fear tax that they're trying to get people not to vote. You know, they scared to vote. We scared to go because of COVID. We scared to vote and put it in the mail because they messing with. It's all fear tactics. People, listen. Your vote, your voice. We need to make sure that it is heard. So
Mm.
make the plan, whatever the plan is. Just like you make a plan to evacuate for fire and other emergencies, this is a fire emergency time. Make a plan to vote. Make a plan to vote, and let's get it done. Because
Well,
Yeah.
we're in Florida, so it's hurricanes.
It's life
that,
or death. It's
That's
that
what it is. That's how serious.
Yes.
yeah.
That's how serious. We don't want
And
to
we got to do our part. We just got to do our part. We
That's
cannot
right.
sit on the sidelines and just complain about it.
That's
We
right.
have to get in there and make the changes happen. And if by chance, Lord have mercy, if by chance it does not go your way, we still have to keep plugging along, keep holding our elected officials accountable, stay in the know, keep pushing forward, keep protesting, keep doing the things that we need to do to make change.
Absolutely.
We can't sit by no more. We just can't sit by and say, okay, well, whatever. We just can't. We can't sit idle by anymore. And we are now 11 minutes over our time.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Well, you're right, Lisa. Just like my mom always says, now is not the time to be comfortable. So get out, vote. Now is the time to do it. If there's no other time, it's right now, in the face of COVID, in the face of all of the media coverage about racial disparity, about police brutality, about innocent lives being lost that are Black and brown. Now is the time. Get out and vote. You cannot, there's just no excuse at this point. You cannot sit idle.
Right. And this is the one thing that you can do. Because I have said this, Jamie, on other shows. I am 5 feet tall. I'm not gonna go out there and walk and protest in the street because something happened. I'm getting run over. And I'm just not gonna take that chance.
Me too.
I admire protesters. Trust me, I do. But if somebody come out and decide to shoot bullets at innocent people so he could go to the church and hold up a Bible, I'm gonna be the one that get run over. And I just can't take that chance. But what I can do is cast my ballot.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
What I can do is that. And I can encourage you to cast yours. That's what I can do. So that's my little protest. I'm gonna stand at the ballot box like this. That's mine. Now, you young people, y'all going over there and march in the street. I'll donate y'all some money for water or whatever.
For water.
Listen, part of the protest is the vote.
It is the vote.
That is part of the protest. And we can't forget that. You know, going out, protesting, all of that. Hey, if you're not voting, then all of that was for naught.
Right.
All of that didn't make sense.
Right.
If you want to see the change, it has to happen with the vote.
You got to vote.
Voting the right people in, which means although we're planning for 2020, we need to start thinking and planning for 2024.
Right.
That's all I got to say.
Yep. So, Jamie, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate you. Thank you. We love you here at Kitchen Talk. Jamal, you the man. I appreciate you in the background. Thank you, my engineer. Look, okay, so we're gonna be back next week, 9 o'clock, same place, Facebook Live and YouTube Live. Join us. If you're watching us on YouTube, hit the subscribe button. We love you guys. Thank you for watching. Thank you, friends. You the man.
Pleasure.
Thank you, JT. Even though you're not here, I get it.
Listen, we can get you back after November 3rd when we do the post-election night.
Jamie, you got to come back.
I'll come back.
Yeah, because that'll be Thursday. We should do a special one on Tuesday.
We should celebrate. We're going to be celebrating on Thursday. So, yes.
Okay. All right. So, Jamie, it's a date. It's a date, Jamie.
It's a date.
It's a date. Yeah. And we'll have our confetti and all of that. Everybody get confetti. and balloons. Y'all know I will, right?
I know you will.
I'll be ready.
All right, guys.